Every once in a while, I show you guys a project that I think is extremely interesting. And I want you guys to know that if I partner up with a project, it's because they've got something special. They've got something that will make them do better than the rest. And for this video, we've got one of those again. Because I've partnered up with some guys I met a while ago, because I think they could do extremely well. I am not your financial advisor, but I like to bring interesting things to your attention. Here's one. So it's called SpaceCatch. So I could be reading up exactly what they've got. Proper team. It's a good market right now, you know. They've got a good development side of things, but I think it's most important to just start out with what exactly are they. Every single bull run, guys, we go for gems, right? For the most part, it just kind of depends on what the cycle is bringing to us. Last cycle, there were a lot of GameFi projects that did well. I think this cycle, a similar type of trend is going to showcase itself. And so yes, it is a game. SpaceCatch is a next-generation AR game driven by complex AI. Build your hero, protect the human metaverse, train your avatar, with a proper studio behind them, Pixel Field. And the reason that AR part is so important is because, for the most part, if you want to get your game to have massive amounts of adoption, and for it to be the next quote-unquote Pokemon Go, I'd say you need two things. One is some sort of augmented reality aspect, and the second, on the crypto part, is to have some sort of earn parts attached to it. And luckily, they've got multiple different, you can see here, 4 different types of ways to earn. Move to earn, minigames, character building, and NFT lending. But crucial here that the token is not like a rewards token. What I mean is, over the last run, I think a lot of crypto projects noticed there's a very lacking concept with reward tokens, which is there's no real reason to buy the token. You just get the token for free, for example, playing the game, whatever, and you sell it. There's no real demand for the token. But when I read into it, it seems they've got a different approach to it. You can see right here, it's important to note that catch can only be obtained through purchase or staking, so it's not a reward token. But it will be necessary for in-game transactions, for example, increasing your avatar, etc. And as a baseline, let's quickly come back and say, I wouldn't have even looked at the project if they didn't have proper partnerships lined up. You always look for the eventual exchange in the list of things. You always want to look if they can actually get themselves on some proper news outlets. And looking through this list, it seems they've got that covered with 2 major exchanges here being strategic partners, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 and 𝗕𝗓𝒄, and even Bitmart actually. Now, it's also worth mentioning they did have a Genesis NFT collection. As you can see right here, the first 500 of these boxes have been already sold out of the 10,000 that will be released over the next 2 years. And they basically give some unique advantages. And I guess it showcases some core community, as the initial 500 of them were bought within 33 seconds by the community. And I believe they'll keep getting more expensive as more of these roll out. And as we said before, there will not be tokens given out as kind of like a reward. A lot of it will have to do with NFTs. And so even though NFTs in theory are inflationary, as there'll be more and more, they've got durability. So after they've been used for a bit, a certain amount of times, they'll be, quote unquote, used up, which is definitely what you want if they are inflationary. And I've also got an interesting lending system for them, which means that if you've got an NFT, you can probably lend it out and actually get some income from it that way, as you'll need specific NFTs to go for certain missions, etc., etc. And apparently, another little note I should add is that there's apparently a discount with these NFTs. It says right here, ownership of the token causes a 5% discount for a catch token purchase, which basically means if you've got one of their NFTs right now, which in this case can only be bought via OpenSea, you get a 5% discount on their token, but can only be used once. So once it's been used, the NFT gets burned, which is another interesting concept. Personally, don't care too much about the NFT right now, nor about the discount. It's mostly about a concept of, if we go into bull market territory, these projects is a concept that we're looking into, because if you get to buy these pre-sales, the early sales, usually they result in the best amount of gains, which is why the way I do it, right, is I go for 100 different projects, put a little bit of money into every single one of them, and see what comes out. You might look at this and think, Dusty, why are you taking sponsored videos? Why are you working with these projects? There's always an incentive. It's pretty hard to find these sales that are proper, that know what they're doing. And so if I partnered up with them, usually these guys have got a very proper plan and it's worth looking into, which is what I keep saying. That does not mean they'll do well for sure. It just means they've got proper exchanges lined up. We know that the team knows what they're doing, and they've got a pretty good roadmap and probably learned from other people's mistakes. That does not mean it's a guaranteed 100x. That's the reason we invest in so many of them. So don't think, oh, let me just buy one and I'm done. I try to buy as many as possible. My criteria are pretty high, because I think 100 pop up every single day. So you have to really filter properly. And some of the things I'm showcasing here in this video are criteria I look at. As I said, I'm personally not a big fan of the NFTs even. That does not mean it's not an exciting part of it. It does not mean that it's not important. They need to think these things through. And even though some parts might not appeal to me, this might be what makes it appeal to tons of other people out there, so it needs to be covered, needs to be understood. And the way I described it, I think personally the way they've designed their token is pretty smart. It's mostly like a store of value instead of like with most other of these games where it's a reward token, meaning in this case here, the more the game pops off, the more the token will do well. But usually it's like a way off with the more the game does well, the worse the token will do because more people get it as a reward. But now you don't have that. But again, as you can see right here, you need to use the token to buy other people's avatars that are already built out. You need to buy all these different things or rent all these different things. So it's a very smart system. Another part that I usually look at that I think a lot of you guys might not understand is the very low initial market cap. I think will be like 350,000. It just means more gain potential because there's less money in the project at the start. Meaning, let's just say it launched at $300,000 market cap. If it goes to only 6 million, I think the token price will be $6, something like that, and just a crazy return with very little amount of money added. Obviously, this is also because then people have got their tokens staked up or locked up, but I always like to take a look at that. Usually, a lower initial market cap means an easier time to get your money out and to make some gains. But usually it also means that this is more of a gem along the lines of you invest 1,000 and get 6,000 back rather than you invest 100,000 and get 600,000 back. It's just everything on a smaller scale. For a lot of you guys, that's amazing. But anyway, you can just check it out for yourself, leave your email right here and get a little notification when the sale actually comes along. Of course, you should do your own due diligence and take a look for yourself. This is something you should buy into. The way I always see it, it's the way I always do it, is I buy into all the projects that have some proper backing. And even though a lot of them will fail, I know it up front. As long as I understand that concept and I don't go too crazy, I just need to find enough that do well. And again, these guys have the marketing a lot. And that's the most important thing about getting a project to pop off in this gaming space. But then again, in a bull market, it's just so much easier. Hopefully they also put my video in here. So yes, you are putting a lot of trust into the team here because it's just another gaming project in the core. But I do believe they can get it done. Most of it is dependent on marketing and they've got it unlocked, as I said, together with a pretty unique concept. And again, the tokenomics being pretty nice from the perspective that it's not so inflationary with it being a simple rewards token. It's pretty good stuff. So, will it succeed? I cannot guarantee you that. Does it have unique aspects? Yes. Does it have a proper team with their faces out there? Yes, which is pretty unique for gaming. A lot of these projects don't. Do they have a lot of good parts like exchange partners? Yes. So it meets the criteria that I usually have for buying in. And so this is another little educational video for the most part as to what I look into, and I buy into these so often. Trust me when I say a lot of projects that have given me crazy returns have looked way worse. Not saying this one looks bad, I'm saying many projects that do extremely well have looked way worse. This is pretty high up on the scale. But it's going to depend a little bit on the market. If it launched in a really bad market, we're unlucky. If this launched in a good market, I think it's got some pretty good potential for a pretty good return. But again, I never go too crazy on one project. I will say again, if you want a 5% discount, you can actually get yourself their NFT. And like I said, just check it out, put your email in there to stay up to date with whatever's going on with them. Perhaps they get another crazy partner. Perhaps they've got something crazy coming up. You might want to know about it because, again, in a bull market, these things can sometimes go for real crazy 100x's, 200x's. But again, sometimes they end up losing your money. But hey, that's the crypto space for you. It's a cool concept though, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty cool what they've got. So take a look at it for yourselves. You know where to find it.